Rock stars live life on the edge, so why should their end be any different? We're going to take you 6 feet deep into the rock and roll send-offs that left the crowd chanting, "Encore! Encore!"
Lemmy Kilmister's funeral in 2016 was as legendary as the man himself.
Interested in people meaning what they do and doing what they mean.
Yeah, well, no matter what happens, obviously, he's always remained.
The Motorhead frontman, known for his hard-living, whiskey-fueled lifestyle, was honored with a massive memorial at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Los Angeles, one of his favorite haunts. The event was live-streamed to his fans worldwide and featured heartfelt tributes from rock star icons like Dave Grohl, Slash, and Lars Ulrich.
Cheers, Lemmy.
In a truly metal twist, Lemmy's ashes were placed inside bullet casings engraved with his name and sent to close friends like Rob Halford of Judas Priest, Ricky Rackman of MTV fame, and tattoo artist Kat Von D, ensuring his rebellious spirit lived on. The Rainbow even immortalized him with a life-size statue, solidifying his place in rock history.
Sid Vicious, the infamous bassist of the Sex Pistols, passed away in 1979 of a heroin overdose, just months after the band's chaotic breakup and the death of his girlfriend, Nancy Spungen.
Dope sickness isn't like that. It's the worst sickness you could ever imagine.
His funeral was a small, low-key affair reflecting the tumultuous life he led.
Where would you like to be?
Under the ground.
Sid's mother, Ann Beverly, organized the service, and only a handful of close friends and family attended.
She's stated that she's scattered his ashes in multiple locations, including a beach in California.
Sweet boy, misunderstood.
However, Johnny Rotten claims that his mother kept his ashes and used them as a place to hide her own heroin stash to get through airport security. Then got nervous and dumped the ashes into the nearest air conditioning duct.
So if we're to believe Rotten, Sid Vicious is still floating around Heathrow Airport.
We'll probably never know what actually happened, but fans continue to spread rumors about Sid's ashes, adding to the chaotic legacy of his life.
I am Oderus Urungus of the legendary GWAR.
The funeral of Oderus Urungus, the infamous frontman of GWAR, was as unconventional and outrageous as was his onstage persona.
Death, slaughter, pagan debauchery, dandruff.
Now, after Dave Brockie, the man behind Oderus, passed away from an accidental heroin overdose, his bandmates and friends held a truly memorable send-off.
Fans, many of whom attended dressed as their favorite GWAR characters, came together to remember Brockie in true GWAR fashion and put the fun in funeral.
During the annual festival known as GWARBQ, fans held a funeral for their fallen comrade. In a nod to Brockie's love of absurd and theatrical acts, the band placed a replica of Oderus on a boat and set it ablaze, in the tradition of a Viking funeral, hello, sending him off in a fittingly dramatic way. Jim Morrison, the iconic lead singer of The Doors, passed away in 1971 in Paris, France. His funeral was a small private affair held at a Paris cemetery. In fact, it was so private that even the other members of The Doors weren't invited. A quiet end to a turbulent life, right? Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to rest in peace, as fans immediately began treating the gravesite like the bathroom at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
One of the most infamous stories involves fans sneaking into the cemetery at night to drink, take drugs, and even on or near his grave, believing it to be a spiritual experience.
In the 1980s, an admirer allegedly tried to dig up Morrison's body, though they were unsuccessful. The grave has also been repeatedly vandalized with graffiti, messages, and Doors-related artwork, forcing authorities to install a guard. Later, the grave was encased in a glass barrier to protect it from theft and vandalism.
R.I.P. Lizard King, R.I.P.
Pandemonium has broken out here on Elvis Presley Boulevard in Memphis.
The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, passed away in 1977.
Thousands of fans from all over the country are trying to get in to view the body of the 42-year-old king of rock and roll.
His funeral was an incredibly public affair, drawing tens of thousands of fans who gathered outside Graceland to mourn him.
While the funeral itself wasn't wild in the traditional sense, the events surrounding it certainly were.
Elvis's casket was briefly stolen by grave robbers who had planned to extort his family for the ransom before being caught. This theft added an extra layer of drama and intrigue to his already legendary life.
There's nobody else like him. There won't ever be anybody else like him.
To this day, Elvis's tomb at Graceland remains one of the most visited and famous grave sites in the world.
Before country music legend Graham Parsons
Passed away.
he made a deal with his tour manager. He told him that he wanted to be buried in Joshua Tree National Park.
Cut to 1973, and Parson dies of a heroin overdose, and that's when the grave robbing started. His stepfather began planning a boring traditional funeral for the icon, and his manager Phil Kaufman was not having it. In a dramatic act of rebellion and a clear violation of California Penal Code 594.35, Kaufman and a friend stole Graham's body from the Los Angeles airport morgue. Next, they drove it to Joshua Tree National Park and set it on fire in a makeshift cremation ceremony. The authorities were eventually alerted, and the body was recovered. But the story of the stolen body and the impromptu desert pyre became a legend in rock history.
Rock stars live fast and go out in the most outrageous ways imaginable. These rock stars didn't just leave music behind, they left behind epic final send-offs that perfectly matched their wild lives.